And now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akugha as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Since the 70s, the Nigerian economy has depended largely on one product, crude oil, which is otherwise also known in the international market as the black gold because of its value and scarcity on the earth. In Nigeria, this crude oil is found mainly in the Niger Delta region. Because most of the oil found in the Niger Delta comes with associated gas, the gas is burnt off during mining in a process generally referred to as gas flaring. The flaring of the gas, however, comes with attendant consequences not just for the environment but also for the host communities and the individuals in those communities. Many of the gas flaring sites are located in villages and some are very close to houses. According to reports, over 8 billion cubic meters of gas is flared in Nigeria annually. This is enough to generate electricity for over 75 million Nigerians that currently lack electricity. The Directorate of Petroleum Resources, DPRO, says Nigeria lost $850 million to gas flaring in 2015. There are currently about 178 reported gas flare sites across the country, though sources at the Ministry of Petroleum say an additional 34 unreported gas flaring sites have also been discovered. The flares cause acid rain that damages crops, soil, roof, etc. They also emit hundreds of different substances known to cause respiratory diseases and cancer.
It is still sad that we still flare gas in Nigeria, and we expected that by now we shouldn't be flaring because of the obvious environmental and health effects. And sadly, we encourage people to flare and pay a pittance, and we flare well over, from what I gather, over 17 billion cubic meters of gas every year. And of course, it comes with its health hazards for those who are situated around where those flares are. First of all, it affects the environment adversely. So, of course, acid rain is a very common phenomenon in areas around where gas is flared. And it has an impact on the roofing sheets, on water that runs off. And sadly, you may find that in some of those areas, they rely on rain and runoff water. So first of all, it means that water source is impure. Now, health-wise, it has been shown that, of course, the constituents of what the gas flare are, it's incomplete combustion, and so you have particulate matter, you have gases from sulfides, carbon and nitrogen, hydrogen sulfide, and other forms of chemicals and hydrocarbons. So in many ways they affect health, especially the blood. So it can result in a lot of blood abnormalities. Cancers have also been associated with flaring of gas. Of course, like I said, skin reactions and skin diseases. Reproductive system abnormalities have also been linked with flaring, and also respiratory system. But of course, because of its impact on the wider environment, the effects go just beyond the direct impact. So where it impacts on plants, and of course people will now, so some of those things go into the food chain and have a indirect impact on people's health at the end of the day. So in trying to summarize it, those are some of the adverse effects on health that may come from gas flaring. Of course, like I said, including the skin and the respiratory or lung effects on the lungs and the respiratory tract.
Since 1979, the federal government of Nigeria tried to end gas flaring. It came up with the Associated Gas Reinjection Act of 1979, number 99, to demand oil firms to generate zero flares by January 1st, 1984. It did not succeed, as the government and its joint venture partners, the oil firms, have been shifting the zero flares date until recently, when the NNPC, through its group managing director, Maikanti Baro, announced that they will stick to a new date of 2020. The international oil companies in Nigeria have continued to flare gas in spite of laws making it illegal. The companies rely on a loophole which places a penalty for the flaring of each cubic feet of gas. For the companies, the penalty is pittance. They find it cheaper and more profitable to burn the gas than to use the gas for the production of energy or simply re-injecting it into the ground for future use. In most of these communities in the Niger Delta, gas has been flared for over 50 years, and between that time and now, no one can say for sure what the impact has been on those communities because there are no existing environmental impact assessment studies to determine the effect of gas flaring in the different communities. Igbide is a community in Isoko South Local Government area of Delta State, and it's host to several oil wells and the Oroni Flow Station, which is part of OML 30. Gas has been flared in the middle of this community for over 50 years, and between that time and today, nobody can say for sure what the impact of gas flaring has been on the community. Despite producing several millions of dollars for the Nigerian government, the community itself is an expression of poverty, squalor, and deprivation. In spite of being the direct victims of gas flaring, they do not receive any monies from the penalties paid for the flaring. The traditional ruler of the community says there is nothing to show that they contribute heavily to Nigeria's income.
Not happy at all. Not happy. Because the money they are getting from this community is too much, and they are doing nothing. Even if they want to do road for us, it's just patching. No good roads. From here to Mamode, the road is bad. To Olomo, the same thing. To Enwe, the same thing. So we are just staying without any development.
This is the middle of Igbide Kingdom. Right behind me, if you look carefully, you will see gas being flared. That is the flow station, the Oroni flow station. And the gas has been flaring there for over 40, going to 50 years. And what it does to the environment, probably you will need some kind of expert, some environmentalists to be able to explain properly the kind of damage that gas flaring has done to this community in the last 50 years. I'm actually in the compound of one of the elders in the town who is a barrister at law, owns a big farm business. His name is Chief Oviria. I want to go over to him now and see if we can talk to him about some of these issues. All right.
Come here.
Chief Oviria, how are you?
I'm fine. And you?
Very well, very well.
Very good.
Yes, Chief, we happen to be in town today and we wanted to talk to you about some of the issues in town. We saw the gas flare as you're coming into the village and, you know, we understand the environmental implication of that.
Yes.
And I understand too that has been burning for years.
Yes, since 1958.
It has been burning there.
Yes.
Wow. So it must have some kind of impact in the village here.
Of course, it has.
Can you tell me some of the impact?
The gas flaring, in the first place, is that the air is being polluted. And apart from that, we have acid rain that is involved in the environment because there is no house. You see, there is no house you roof, and the roofing sheet lasts more than 5 years. So we are continuously changing re-roofing of our buildings because due to acid rain.
Okay.
Now, the economic aspect of it is the most woeful thing on earth. I have not seen any country in the world where people set money on fire.
Yes. What do you mean when you say set money? Because I don't think anybody does that. Set money on fire.
Yes, the gas they are flaring is money. It's heavy money for industrialization. It is heavy money that the gas should be tapped and connected to houses. And just as water is connected to houses, you use it in cooking, a meter is fixed for you, and you pay. Now, a lot of industries could come up as a result of this gas. Just as we are tapping money from oil, so also we can tap money from gas. Unfortunately, this is the only country in the world where they put rules. They are so hopeless that people go into default instead of compliance. Now, you will say that the cubic amount of oil, gas that is set on fire, then you can pay about 100 naira. For an oil company, and you are banning them from flaring gas. Why not put that, well, if you continue to flare gas, for every year you will pay 50 billion naira?
No, but Chief Ovire, yes. you are a legal practitioner.
Yes.
The government of Nigeria says it's illegal to flare gas. You cannot flare gas in Nigeria.
Who gives the laws?
But in that law also, there's a loophole.
Yes.
Which says, if you must flare, it's against the law to flare.
Yes.
In Nigeria, I think since 1984.
Yes.
But there's that loophole says if you are going to flare, then you have to pay X amount of money to the Nigerian government.
Yes. When you say don't flare gas, if you flare, you pay such amount, does that person has good intention for the country? When you know that the oil companies can take that amount you have attached as peanuts, you have no interest. You ban. And the economic importance of gas is so high that you don't give an additional condition of if you default, pay this. It's just like when you say import, do something that is illegal. You know it's illegal already. Then you are imposing a fine on illegality. How do you look at the person who drafted that law?
So has there been any kind of health impact assessment on the community?
The point is this. In the community here, we have a lot of problem with stroke in the community now, which was not usual before. People were not thinking about having stroke, having hypertension, then having all sorts of strange ailments, and people breathing this without good hospitals. The mortality rate in the areas where you have this oil is high. 2, the areas of our fish and farming, because of the oil spill, is much. And the gas, on top of it, when you have oil spill, you have bad air emanating from the spill. You compound it with gas flare. And you will see people, if you take a look, you will see that all the houses around now, it's only this year, they have re-roofed all of them. If you take a short round, you will see they were re-roofed this year.
Yes, I'm seeing a roof there, directly opposite you, another green one, the next one too.
These are old buildings that the people are busy spending money on. Now, if the gas, we don't have good water to drink, and you drink rainwater, and this gas flaring is on, if it can affect the roof of a house, why can't it affect your body?
Because some of these gas flare sites are just a few meters to houses and farmlands, they are prone to accidents. In December of 2017, one of such sites operated by Dubri Oil in Gelegele, Edo State, exploded, and this led to widespread panic and destruction in the town. To date, no compensation has been paid to the community.
Very terrible blast from the facility failure from Dubri Oil Company, and it caused a lot of tension in the community, men, women, old age, and even the Mamode of the community. As a result of it collapsed, though it's late now as a result of that gas flare explosion. And there is the new well that was drilled, GG1, before they now drilled GG9 and GG11, but when the facilities were being linked to the flow station, there was some kind of error from the company, which as a result had flow gas and the crude oil spilled around the entire community, and it was a very big flame that came up. The Nigerian directed them to pay 150 million naira to the community. But up to today, they felt adamant, and all along we have been praying that God should intervene. And also we are pleading because the flare stack is right at the heart of the community. We're also using this medium to even call on my organization and Niger to prevail so that this gas flare will be located to another area. And if possible, this gas flare should be tapped as a source of energy to generate light and also serve as a gas turbine for the community. As we are seeing now, we have corrosion, our zincs are being corrected by this gas flare, and even the air we breathe in that community is polluted.
The oil firms which are operating in Nigeria, Shell, Mobil, Ajib, Chevron, amongst others, know how deadly gas flaring is in terms of its effect on the environment and health of citizens. In fact, 8 years ago, a rather controversial apology to the people of the Niger Delta and broadcast over the internet came from a man known as Bradford Hoope, claiming to be the vice president of a newly created Ethical Affairs Department of Shell. Though the contents of the apology were thought to be factual and appropriate, Shell never confirmed or denied it.
We know what we have done wrong. And today, I'm proud to say that we make a symbolic new start by saying to the people of the Niger Delta, we are sorry. We are sorry for the oil and gas spills that have made your rivers toxic. We are sorry for the gas flares that stink up your villages. We are sorry for the fact that you cannot eat your fish, that you cannot grow on your land, and that you cannot drink your water. We have had similar extraction operations in Alaska with little problem. We know there is a double standard, and that must end. We are sorry.
Whether the apology was fake or genuine, truth is that nothing has changed 8 years after. Even the stipulated penalty for gas flaring that oil companies are supposed to pay, they do not pay. Some months ago, an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives invited the oil firms to clarify their financial situation with regards to gas flaring penalty. The House discovered that the oil companies had not paid their penalties for upwards of 15 years.
Respiratory issues, diseases, cancer, illness that have caused to the host community. There's supposed to be compensation to the community that you have failed to adhere to over the years. And the not payment over $14.2 billion of gas flare, that $3.05 standard cubic feet, 1,000 each, have refused to be paid by IOCs. And you are telling us that what you do, you reinject. And at the end of the day, DPRO is telling us, giving us a different submission, how much you owe, and you are telling us you don't owe. Are you telling us that the DPRO is lying? Is DPRO lying?
We sit down together, open our books to make sure that we have the same figures. We do this annually, and we can present this same reconciliation, which is signed off both by MOBE and DPR for the period you are concerned about. And what you will find out is the gas volumes, we reconcile them. The total amount remitted, we reconcile them. And you can't, and we've not come up with this same, we've not identified these differences. So we are pleased to submit this report to you for your consideration, sir. But we are not aware of this, sir.
From 2000 to 2015, from 2000 to 2015, DPRO is telling Nigerians and the federal government, which they are part of, that ExxonMobil is owing 157,053,298.20 dollars. Millions, 157 million. This is document from DPRO submission. And you are telling us that You reconcile with DPRO. Every month you all sit down. If that is the case, why should DPRO give us this submission that you are owing the federal government 157 million? No payment of gas fled. Now, not only what had been done to the community, to the host community, can this be done elsewhere, if not only Nigeria? Over the year 2000 to 2015, you have not remitted the penalty, and you are here to tell us that you are sitting with DPRO. This is DPRO submission. Mr. Chairman, I think there's a serious matter here. Thank you, sir.
Member of the committee, Honorable E.J. Agbonaima, however, said they will ensure that the oil firms pay what they owe.
And it's mind-boggling, some of the information we have discovered, and like you rightly said, a lot of discrepancy, you know. DPRO submission, you know, indicted the IOCs, where some of them, to be honest to you, are now trying to pay. They said they have negotiated with DPRO. We said, no, we're not going to take that from anyone. And just because now we are investigating you want to tell us, oh, you are trying to do what is necessary to negotiate with the DPRO. And even DPRO themselves have questions to answer. And because Nigeria belongs to all of us. All these years, what happened? Why DPRO was not able to sanction those that have erred? So I think the Nigeria belongs to us. This is, and what really, you know, gives me sleepless nights is to see the areas, the community where they make billions and trillions of dollars, and they are living in abject poverty. No healthcare, no infrastructure, and you begin to wonder: is this Nigeria where all these billions are coming from? Some of even the IOCs, you know, they make money from that region. Most of them are all in Lagos, pay taxes to Lagos State. I don't have a problem with that. What about where they are making the billions? What is going on? Are we not all Nigerians?
Blessing Ukiri, legal practitioner and former vice president of the Nigerian Bar Association, says communities should go to court to get adequate compensation from government and oil companies.
As a lawyer, the only thing I know that is potent, a bit straightforward and convincing is going to court. Now, the problem we have had in the past, let me start from the penalties that ought to be paid. There is a law, actually. It was a decree brought during the regime of the current head of state, which put a date that gas flaring will be abolished in Nigeria on so and so time. But created a loophole for the oil companies that if you must continue to flare thereafter, you will pay per cubic gas, you will pay SY amount. No authority was established as to collect the collector, because it's not treated really as a revenue, part of oil revenue, because this is a penalty. So it's supposed to be a punishment for doing a wrongful act. You need to set up a body that will be a kind of compliant commission that will ensure that, oh, this man is still flaring, this is what you should pay, and this is which account is going. So government created the law, but it didn't put the mechanism for its enforcement. So that's the problem. So if any suit against about gas flaring, any community that actually comes out, there are a few communities that have gone to court. If you are interested, you join the federal government. Of course, by the contract they have with the oil companies, federal government has 60% of every benefit that comes from the oil production. So they also must share 60% if an award is made against an oil company. So you sue both the federal government and the oil company. That is the only way from a legal point of view. Any community that is dissatisfied, and it's about time some communities they actually started filing more cases that, oh, there's this law, you are not enforcing it, so, and it's causing us pain. So the only remedy is to go to court to stop this flooding.
Whenever the federal government receives the penalty fees, it must also consider investing some of the monies in environmental remediation and infrastructural development in those communities that have suffered the brunt of gas flaring in the last 50 years.